Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day to you whenever and wherever you are on this sweet, wild, sacred earth. I'm Julie Ling, and this is the Voice of a Wonder. I'm so happy that you're joining me. I invite you to simply let yourself settle into the moment, settling down maybe from your mental body into this physical body that's made of stardust, letting your energy that is maybe stardust settling down into you. Let the flute float you down, bring you down into your body and into this home and this moment, this now here that will never ever come again. Noticing your breath rising and bringing in fresh new energy, oxygen, and releasing whatever no longer serves you. Rising like a tide and falling away like a tide, bringing in freshness, carrying out whatever you're ready to let go of. Just settling into that and noticing how your breath is breathing you. Today was the lowest tide of the year where I live. And my housemate and I walked out a mile onto the flats and almost came close enough to touch the marker. That's the border in the water between the United States and Canada. We were about 15 feet short on it because it took longer to walk out than we thought. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. We walked past tide pool after tide pool after tide pool, waded through water that was warm from having been sitting in the sun for hours. And we must have seen 2 or 3 dozen great blue herons, 2 or 3 dozen bald eagles out on the flats fishing. It was beautiful. And it made me realize, I was thinking just before I came to talk, that when the tide is low, we see things that we're not able to see at other times. And the full moon was on Friday, so we're in the waning mode. Things are receding. Our bodies are mostly 60% water. I looked it up today. The average is 60%. It can be as little as 40 something and as much as I think 74. What is, I just invite you to look at what's receding in your life and what can you see because of it? What's visible to you now that wasn't visible to you before? And sometimes when our energy's in a lower state, we're aware of things we aren't otherwise. And maybe there are things that bothered us all along, but we were feeling better, so it was easier to push them away. Now is the opportunity to see what's in the tide pools, what's under the surface that's been covered up, that has treasure for you, that has gifts for you, that is beauty you haven't been able to see. Just noticing whatever that might be for you. And as you notice your breath rising and falling, and rising and falling, And so much in our culture, the emphasis is on the expansion, the bringing in, and contraction is ignored. What is here for you in the release, in the letting go? What gift is here for you? And the letting go, and maybe even letting your breath release with a sigh, with an ah, ah. Noticing how you relax a little more into that, how you soften into that, how you come a little more into your body, maybe a little more into the singing bowl of your hips, feeling it solid, like the most comfortable armchair you've ever sat in, actually being sitting in your sit bones in a way you haven't before, feeling your energy in your knees and your feet, and noticing as that breath leaves you like a wave going back to shore, what's visible? What beautiful shell. Today I saw several sand dollars, all these shells, the seagrass underneath in these places that were deeper. What do you notice as the tide recedes? The tide of your breath, the moon tide, as the waning cycle continues. It's noticing what wants to be let go of, what is letting go and moving away from you, and what treasures are there that weren't visible before. If there's a moment or a day when you're feeling lower, what's there? What's here for you? Is there a beautiful luminous shell? There were some little, I think, clamshells, mussel shells maybe, that were purple on the inside, but on the outside I kept thinking they were snails, and they weren't. The outside was this luminous multicolor, like a snail shell would be. Looked translucent, even though it wasn't. What can you see in this time that isn't visible before? What can you see in the times that you are letting go, are releasing into rest, or letting yourself, or are you letting yourself actually be still and quiet? Just looking for the treasure that had been hidden, that had been covered, looking for perhaps things you hadn't noticed that aren't okay with you, that now the other layers have receded. You notice, oh, this doesn't feel okay with me. What action am I called to? What boundary do I need to set? How do I need to make a stand for myself and what matters to me so that I can be fully present in my integrity and without resentment of others? Because if I haven't asked for what I want, what I'd love, how can I resent them for not giving it to me? It's not really fair. We often do, and it's not really fair. So I invite you to notice maybe now any of those things that come up, maybe as you go through the next few days, just to be aware of where, if your energy seems to be waning, what's here? What are the gifts? What is uncovered as the water recedes? What is let go of as your breath recedes? We would not be able to breathe if our lungs did not expand and contract. If our heart didn't contract and expand, we wouldn't be alive. Birds can only fly because their wings contract and expand. What if it's time to honor the contraction, the release, as much as we honor the expansion and the outpouring? What if one is not better, but they are equal parts of the same whole? Where can you see the whole instead of the part that you've thought or been taught or learned is the part that's good, the half that's good? Halves are always halves of whole. And all part what's welcome comes when we welcome all the parts. Just I invite you to notice where that might be for you. And just breathing. I'm noticing how the in-breath is delicious and the out-breath can be a sigh of release, of relief. The in-breath breathing in freshness, the out-breath breathing out. And trees breathe in our carbon dioxide, and we breathe in the oxygen that they breathe out. There wouldn't be trees without the carbon dioxide. Well, there's so much, maybe there would be. We would not have as much oxygen to breathe if they were not the trees. What if it is an equal exchange? And to give is as blessed as to receive. What if they are equal parts of the same whole? What if there are as many gifts in the receiving as there are in the releasing, in the giving as well as the receiving? What if both parts are equal? Both parts are integral to the whole? What if we learned to value both? And let go of, oh yeah, this side is good and that side is bad. Maybe not. What if not? What if we get to have all the parts of ourselves and love all the parts of ourselves and receive all the parts of ourselves? When we don't, when we push against, we always create resistance. When we can love whatever is, even if it's crankiness. Oh yeah, I love this crankiness. Wow, all that resistance just goes away. And then the crankiness can go away, or it can stay. There's no having to push it. And that's a beautiful thing. I notice when I'm totally present to my feelings, they come and go. Sometimes they talk of Michelangelo. Thank you, T.S. Eliot. There's a flow. There's a flow to all of it. And then one can come and the next can come and they come and go. There's a wonderful William Blake quote I love. He who binds himself to a joy does the winged life destroy. But he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. So today, I invite you to live in eternity's sunrise, to kiss the joy as it flies, the sorrow as it flies, the crankiness as it flies, the love as it flies. What if it is the breathing in and the breathing out? And when we welcome it all, what happens if you take a deep breath in and hold it? Not much until you pass out and then you breathe in again. Like it doesn't really work otherwise. We need both sides of the breath, the contraction and the expansion, the coming and the going, all our feelings. And when we can kiss them as they fly, one of my teachers once said that the degree to which we allow our sorrow is the degree to which we allow our joy. I wish for you a full spectrum life where you embrace your sorrow with as much welcoming as you do your joy. And if you can't get there now, a little more, a little more. A shift of a single % can change the trajectory of a lifetime. So today, notice the expansion, the contraction. Look as the water recedes or the energy recedes. What is there? What beautiful shell that's been hidden? Or what piece of glass that you didn't realize was cutting your foot do you need to do something about? What are the gifts in the release as well as the expansion? What are they? I don't know. And may you find out. May you kiss the joy as it flies and the sorrow and all the parts. All the parts. Today, I'm Julie Ling, and I invite you to let your heart sing with all these songs of kissing the joy, of honoring the receiving as much as the giving, the release as much as the bringing in, all the emotions, all the parts, all the beautiful parts of you. All the beautiful parts of you. May they sing a little more today. Have a beautiful and a blessed day.